2, 1, and once again we have a go live error message.
That's on my end. I don't know why it acts up with your title.
You know.
Nah,
Hey, this is Ted Hicks from Late Night Parents. Ways to follow the show, LateNightParents.com. Tony D is here. He is a knucklehead for life.
Always.
Tony D, what's new with your week, your
Chilling,
life?
man. Chill.
How you been?
I'm good, bro. How about you, man?
Man, I've kind of been slightly unplugged from the Matrix this week because I was working on a couple of things, professional wise,
right,
business wise.
right.
So I know for the most part, there's been the story of the week with submarine, the Titanic that everyone in the world is talking about.
Yes. Heavy
Fireman Rich, how you doing?
Rich was good. Why is not taking your title? What is going on with this? Rich was good, man.
Rich, we hope you are doing well. Always a shout out to Fireman Rich, who always comes through, who always supports us. I tell you, it's a great show to watch in the AM. I don't know about you guys.
You gotta come with it.
You gotta come correct. You gotta come correct when you talk about Fireman Rich.
Say hi.
We're
live.
Hey, what's going on, Jason? I tell you, because everyone was talking about submarine and we were just watching Carmen and Rick, and they were talking about humanity,
yes,
loss of life,
yes,
people just being ugly and evil and not thinking with their hearts or acting with their hearts or having a hard heart. So there's that aspect of it, but there was loss of life, or there's allegedly loss of life.
Yes, loss of 5 lives. I got reservations about the whole issue. First of all, rest in peace to the people that were lost in that expedition, if you will. And I say it like that on purpose because it was an expedition. Everybody's been going down there for decades, looking at what's going on down there, looking at the wreckage, trying to see if they can come up with their own conclusions. I was good with all that. My problem is with all the stuff that we've got that's been going down there all these years, what really happened? Where was the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association or Administration? No. Where was National Geographic, Discovery Channel, Animal? All of them been going down there forever. Will Smith just went down there last year before the Disney Channel. What happened? The Navy's out there. The Coast Guard's out there. I'm sorry. I got questions. I do. No disrespect to them. If everybody knew the risk and they signed the waivers, okay, fine. If they couldn't get there in time, understood. But I think something more could have been done unless something happened when they went down there.
Okay.
Because apparently submersible came apart. That's it. At that depth, that's it. It takes 2.5 hours to get down there. It could have happened when it was on the decline, all of that stuff. It was a lot, and I got questions and concerns. I would have to go deep into where I'm at with it right now, but I do understand that we did lose them. My other problem is yesterday on the news, they just said they heard banging sounds. If they was already dead, where you hear banging from?
I don't know, Tony.
I'll be here all day, but rest in peace to them for real. I hate it happened. I really do hate that it happened.
Yes. And for, I don't know. Like I said, I caught the end of this and I saw the ugliness that was out there on social media, and I was just like, geez.
I didn't catch a lot of the ugliness on the social media side. I was watching a lot of the news stories and I was paying attention to it because once again, we have a lot of these expeditions happening a lot.
Yeah.
People have been shooting down there for quite some time, all jokes aside. So I didn't expect what did happen. I will say that, but apparently they did cut corners. Apparently things weren't as they were supposed to be. Honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and put it to you like this, ladies and gentlemen. When they build ships, boats, cars, planes, a lot of these things, remember that phrase in Armageddon. We got all these moving parts built by the lowest bidder. And apparently it came out they had cut corners. At that depth, I wouldn't have cut any corners. I wouldn't have.
Fireman chimed in and said it imploded possibly this past Sunday. Navy supposedly heard it, have to wait for the experts to do the investigation.
Absolutely, Fireman Rich. You are correct. Absolutely. We have to.
You know?
We have to. And like I said, we're talking right now news. We're talking right now.
Say rest in peace.
Yes.
To those who lost their lives. And I'm sure, like I said, hey, the one thing that I will chime in on, I heard this morning that there's a documentary already put together on this situation that's going to air in the very near future. I'm talking about like really soon. And I'm like,
already?
Jeez.
Already? How much time we got on that one?
I don't know.
How much time we got on that one? I'm just saying.
Tony D, I don't know if you know this, but we have a special guest in the house. Booyah!
Can you hear me?
He's awake.
He's awake.
Can you hear me?
What's up,
Loud
Rich?
and clear.
Okay. I gotta make sure everybody's asleep right now. So I just
you're all loud and clear.
Thank you for the invite, Ted. I appreciate it. I was sitting there on the couch and I'm watching. I'm a history buff, so I was watching the Smithsonian Channel there, World War II. They had some footage on there I have never seen before, and it was amazing. Some 8mm color film back in 1942 that they had an Army Navy game that they were playing just before Pearl Harbor and stuff, and it was like, wow. But yeah, what you're talking about, I haven't really been found just pieces of it and stuff, but the pieces I heard, it's just like it's a tragedy. With whatever's been said, it's a tragedy. You would figure, there's people saying there are going to be people that say crap, and I just tune that out and stuff. I'm looking to the experts. I tried Jim. Who was the producer of Titanic?
James Cameron.
Yeah, James Cameron. He actually builds these things. He built. He has an engineering background, and I didn't realize that in this interview. It's just the complexity of these machines and stuff like that. I don't think it was a willy-nilly. When you look at it, there had to have been some testing or something like that. But he was saying that. And then there was this one other Navy officer that there could be one little thing, one little nut, and all it takes is, and this is a 30-year career captain in the U.S. Navy. You could have one little nut, and they just reach a certain temp or certain depth. It's going to implode. You can't prevent that. It's nature. Nature. You're going down that far, and the pressures. I mean, I've done some scuba diving. I've gone down as far. I wasn't supposed to go more than 30 feet, but I went 60 feet.
Sadie, how you doing?
You can feel the pressure.
Yes, you can. What's up, Sadie?
So it's a tragedy, all in all, and stuff like that.
Pena.
There was always hope. I thought we were going to have, sort of one of those miraculous rescues like we did with the soccer team boys that were trapped in the cave there years back and stuff like that. And there was some tragedy that came out of that. One of the rescuers passed away, I think, during that operation and stuff. And so I'm just waiting to see. I'm a little leery about people going down there, such as tourists. But you got people going up in rockets. If they've got $200,000 in their back pocket, I guess they can catch them, buy a seat. So,
Brandon Rick was good.
Hey, But this is good. I find myself awake, so I said, "Hey, it's Thursday." But I think I'm charged up because the comment I made there just before coming on about Strange.
Random
Have you
Rick, how you
seen
doing?
New Strange World or Strange?
I'm
Hey.
still finishing Discovery. I haven't started Strange New World.
Hey,
Have you seen it, Ted?
I want to tell you, I saw the first episode. The second one is queued up. I didn't get a chance to watch it
I'm not
tonight.
going to say anything.
I was so wrapped into the NBA
Don't
draft.
go to my Twitter feed.
I saw on your Twitter feed, you said the episode was so good.
There's I'm just going to say there's one part there I was welling up and tearing, and it's like, wow. I'm just like,
and one of my favorites on the show, Commander Una Chin Riley.
Yeah.
You know, like the backbone of the Enterprise.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's always that number two person.
Well, no, she's number one.
She's number one, but she's like right behind Pike.
Yeah. Because I can remember her character in the original pilot when you had Pike and black and white.
Yes.
Original Star Trek.
Yes.
And she looks just like the original character.
Yes.
And stuff. But I guess I wanted to sidetrack off of the tragedy there because
I don't know what
to say about it. You know,
it's a segue that's necessary.
Yeah.
I got to tell you this, Rich, Dad, and to Tony. Strange New Worlds is like my favorite show.
I'm going to get there, y'all. I'm going to get there.
Strange New Worlds is that first season was so good.
Rock.
The first 10 episodes, the one season, the solo episodes, so that like there's that lightly overarching story, but each episode, boom, 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 55 minutes, story is told. You know, they're dealing with their issue of the week, all the stuff that we grew up on watching.
Yeah.
And not having to watch 50 episodes to
get the whole crutch of the story.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was afraid of that when they're in this second episode that it might have gone that, but they do. They do exactly that, and that's what's great about that. But it's some great acting. The cast is great. I'm just looking at it. This episode by far is probably one of my favorite episodes.
Wow.
Primarily because of I'm not going to say anything. I'll wait.
Content. I did read. I will tell you this much. I was on the train early this afternoon heading home, and I did. I you know what, I gave in and I read the review for episode 2. I read the review while I was on the train going. I was like, man, this looks like a really good episode. Right. And so I'm gonna watch it right after we air tonight.
Well, I can't. Do you know the one actor that's on there? That she's a guest star, I guess.
Yes.
She's my new hero.
Yes.
She is my new hero.
Yes. And Tony is just like,
I'm not saying that. No, I'm good. Like I said, I'm going to finish Discovery. I'm going to go through Strange New World.
Well, Tony, you can watch this. You can watch this one episode, and you're not going to. It's well, maybe not, because it towards the tail end of the first season, it does bring up that aspect as far as that goes. Rick Costa, yo, and Carmen
here.
Hello,
hey, Carmen, and Rick Costa. What's going on? And I want to thank you guys because we were talking about the humanity aspect.
Yeah,
dovetailing off of your conversation from the previous hour. Just slightly, not as in depth as you guys went into it. And they mentioned that they just finished their meeting and came on over. Very good, excellent. So that was the deal about that.
Good episode, Carmen. Seriously, that was fun. That was fun. Y'all did a great job.
I said what I said earlier, just not to say it. It was thought provoking.
Yes.
You know, it's there's effort put into producing the weekly stream. And I'm talking about all about the joy. I'm not talking about this, bag of bones.
We
But
all have our special talents, Ted.
It's the big topic for now till something else.
Crazy happy, exactly.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Is that how the producer, she freaks out? It's okay.
It's okay.
Plan and organize so much. I'm not falling for it.
But I will say this, because I'm glad to have Rich on and Tony, as always, because we talk behind the scenes,
Yes.
Whether it's in pre-pro or post-production. Rich, the fact of the matter is that I would say for the last 2 years, I've been able to enjoy your early morning broadcast.
And that means a lot to me, Ted. That means that right there,
whether live or the archive aspect of it, and the fact that you had your different blocks that you cover, you interact with the audience. Everyone's a part of the show. It's not you just on this pedestal, just being a blowhard or anything like that. And we see the compassion, we see the emotion, because I tell you, because it was one Saturday I was watching you,
right,
and Haps had pissed you off, and
I have my moments now. I do have my moments,
and I love it because you were just like, that's it, I'm done. I'm done.
I have a breaking point, and then that's one of the. I guess I'm looking at it that I've talked about this. I think this last week where we do have moments and stuff. And for the folks that are watching this, I'm actually 65 years old. I'm an older fart. Okay, so I have a journey behind me, and I've talked about this a couple times this last week. That I look back at before I met the missus, I was probably destined to, the way I was, either be thrown in jail or 6 feet under and stuff like that. But it really means a lot, Ted, what you just said as far as that goes, because I try and express my feelings towards the people that are in the chat, and even try to bring the people to replay, because I do see the numbers. The numbers for me is a measuring stick. They're ideal. I don't want any more. It's comfortable and stuff like that. And the part I love is you're part of the show, because I think it was the other morning, Tony, we're getting towards the end. I said, watch, Ted's going to come in last minute.
Yeah, your new nickname is Last Minute Ted.
I love that. That makes the show. And then the comments, as far as any broadcaster that does not pay attention to comments and and stuff like that. And I learned that from our friend Helen, as far as that goes. And she's very skilled and knowledgeable in broadcasting. She has the Scottish attitude and stuff like that, but that's okay, but I've known her over the years and stuff, and she's very passionate. And most all broadcasters, they wouldn't be doing this if they weren't passionate about doing it, just like you are, as far as some of the guests you have on talking about the sport. I mean, you're connected, stuff like that. So that's an interest. And I think this day and age is like, I've got Spectrum for my service, and there's like 200 channels on the thing. There's nothing on there, so I got to come over here, and I love watching replays, and the replays because I don't get a chance to see the actual live. And this is a very big treat for me to be on your show. So I really appreciate you inviting me up. And and also Tony. Tony's great. Yeah, he's my brother, veteran there. And we have a good, it's always good being up on his show too and stuff like that. And
hey, I just want to read these comments real quick, because we were talking about Carmen was talking about producing her show and how she freaks out. She said Rick always says she'll be fine. Yeah, Rick says it's always great. Last week, our main guest canceled last minute, and that's part of this live aspect when you have these guests.
Yeah, you may not have a choice. You got to wing it.
I will say that myself when we do the fantasy football broadcast. I look for people. I'll wait, and then if they don't come in, my backup plan. And Carmen, I want to tell you this, Carmen. Always keep a backup plan.
Yep.
When it comes to broadcasting, here's the kicker. And you have told me some things that I've been using. You don't even realize it. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I do. I always plan to have people. But if they're not going to be there, what am I going to do? You already do enough shorts. You could almost put a couple of your shorts together, or at least elaborate on a couple of the ideas that you had to make your broadcast in the event somebody doesn't show up. That's your backup plan. It's just that simple. When I did the fantasy football, I had just planned on doing just me. And then when people will come up, we'll carry the conversation. And as much as I'm random and I go off the cuff, I try to keep the time frame in. I was rude on some of my old fantasy football broadcasts, and I've actually apologized. I said to one of my I apologize to everybody who's been up there when I will cut them off. But that was me doing what you all do, trying to keep a format, trying to keep a plan. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I just know I need to do it like this, and I want to get it done a specific amount of time. I will tell you for me, I've tried to watch everybody up here. Some of you don't even realize how many hours I've watched of your broadcast and why I elaborate on so much of what I was saying. It came from paying attention to everybody's show and watching the interactions that we had. Mind you, what we do and what I've seen, we got regular television beat. I'm serious. Take a day and watch some of the replays. Yeah. Watch the conversations. Watch how we'll talk without arguing more than we'll talk when we do argue. And that goes
do want to jump in and say, yes. Rick said Jim in Chicago. Shout out to Jim in Chicago, who we got to see.
A fantastic broadcaster.
From
Jim in Chicago.
You guys knew him from Periscope. I knew him from.
No, I met him here in Haps.
On
Haps. Yeah,
he's really misses the huge community.
In the future. Yeah, I need 5% of yours too, because trust me, I got an idea already. Jim in Chicagoland was talking about he may not be streaming anymore. I saw what he said. He's thinking about winding down.
We're so excited that this cinematographer on the show, and it
just took the wind out of sales. And that's you with your focus. That's her with her focus. People who are divinely focused and they're ready and they got the energy for it, if something goes wrong, it throws them off.
Yeah.
So don't keep that backup plan.
What I used to do, and I know everyone's been broadcasting in some aspect, so Rich and I started in audio.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's my back. Yeah. Yes.
So we started in audio. And in audio, when I used to be podcasting solo, I would have 2 or 3 guests per 55-minute show. Yes. And I would do it on increments of at the 15-minute mark, so I would give a monologue, and all of this stuff would be written out in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And that's when you really, you're kind of really stiff because you're going as per the outline. Hey, it's at the 12-minute mark, I'm going to look down. And at that point, because it was just audio, hey, the guest is in the queue. From there, I would, ask the 5 questions, get them on out of there, recap, go on to the next guest. And I did that format for about a year.
Were you using Spreaker back then, Ted? Were you using Spreaker back then?
I was using Blog Talk Radio back then.
Oh, Blog Talk. Okay.
I was using Blog Talk Radio back then.
That's going way back. Wow.
So back then, all the outlines were written out. The questions were sent to the guest because they were random guests. I would never have anyone that was a star, but they would be like entrepreneurs. They'd be parents. They'd be, people that want to share their stories, or if they're putting together a product that they're going to be debuting on some type of Indiegogo site or something like that. That's how I worked to the point where I said, okay, I don't need the script as much, or you script a little less. Mm-hmm. And where you guys helped me greatly was primarily audio. You guys helped me with the video aspect, because I was doing a little bit on StreamYard, but when the whole Haps deal happened, it just kicked the door open.
Yeah.
You and Bathurst helped me the most by having me up with y'all. And I'm always gonna say that, Ted. I remember I met you through Bathurst. And you was
right.
You was like, wait a minute, you would do it?
I think a lot of people met me, everybody.
I always called the Bathurst neighborhood. He was Mr. Rogers of all of us, because that's how a bunch of us met each other. But Ted was like, would you ever do a show? I said, I'd love to do a show. He said, would you call us? I said, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. I'd be jumping. Dude, I would sit up on Thursday night like this. When are we coming on? When are we coming on?
Yeah. So
Well, for me, just to answer Carmen's question, Carmen, I do repurpose my broadcasts on YouTube, the replays of my morning broadcasts. And the format is the same as what I did back in the audio. Not the beginning audio. Beginning audio was just going up there. Was on a program called Audio Boo, which was, I think, Blog Talk was on there back then also.
Hey, Toby.
And,
Toby, what's good?
Because I remember listening to 2 or 3 fire department podcasts from some firefighters, and I got into the audio with Audio Boo, which is now Audio Boom. And when they went to a paid service, I was checking out Spreaker. Spreaker is solid. It's a great program, and I was still playing with the idea, and I getting the current format I have for both audio and live streaming is the same that I developed. Developed during the using Anchor, and Anchor's, I think, well, it's not Anchor now. It's Spotify for podcasters. But the live streaming came about as far as I got an interest in just throwing up gaming on Twitch. So, and I use Periscope. I never got into the Meerkat. I came in after Meerkat, but Periscope was going strong.
I heard about Meerkat. I forgot.
Yeah, Meerkat was pretty good, but it just didn't have the staying power. And then Blab came along, and Blab was before Periscope, and Blab it just took off like you said when you saw Haps. It was just boom. It's like, this is cool.
Rich or Tony, did you ever hear the application Hang With?
No.
Hang With?
No.
It was at the same time as Meerkat. And
no, I don't recall that one.
I interviewed the CEO of Hang With. And he was just like, so this might have been some type 2012, 2013.
Okay.
I interviewed him, and it was like, hey, live video, wherever you want to be, you can just go live just with the web. And I was just like, that's a pretty good idea, I think. And I laugh now because I'm like, look at where we are now.
Yeah, I would say the first live streaming that I did was probably an IBM actually owns it now. It's called Ustream, and Chris Perillo. I don't know if you know Chris Perillo. He's an online entity, and he's on Twitch. He's the epitome of a nerd and stuff like that. But I used to watch him on Ustream, and Ustream was a typical platform. You just get on there and you start broadcasting. You couldn't bring anybody up. That was the novelty of Blab, I guess, because it was the first. I think you could do Skyping back then, but that was more or less off to the side. It wasn't embedded into the web as far as that goes. What do you think about the hardest part of broadcasting, live streaming?
So just so we can let the audio listeners know, there was a question that came up from Carmen about what do you think is the hardest part of broadcasting / live streaming, since you've been doing it for so long. She's curious. Tone, you want to go first, or
go ahead,
or Rich, you want to jump in first?
Carmen, this is my answer is pretty much being the most original, not doing what anybody else has ever done. You were one of the people that told me whatever I do is going to have my own spin on it, and as much as I understood it, I still I didn't want to do anything anybody else had ever done. And as much as I would watch TV, I watch a lot of TV. Every time we have a TV conversation with movies or television shows, you can tell how much I have paid attention to what's out there. So the fantasy football one might have been the most original. I haven't seen anybody do it like I did it up there. The music video shows, I can say it was kind of done because I did try to kind of emulate Video Soul, Video Vibration, and Rap City. But I just went my own way, like everybody was telling me. It was you, Ted, Ace, hell, a bunch of y'all. Just do it your way. Rick, Jeeves, all of you. Just do it. And I did. Some people had fun with it. A lot of people enjoyed what I did. And it helped me to keep going, especially when we was on Haps. I had people watching I didn't think would watch that music. And then they would trip out. And I will say older folks. who were like, I remember this song. I remember this song. Oh yeah, I remember this. Okay, you got me dancing. Now you got me reminiscing on stuff. No, just be yourself. Don't worry about that. I'm like, huh? Y'all really gonna watch this? Okay, let me keep going.
Yeah.
So it was fun. My audience helped me.
Yeah.
My audience helping me keeps me broadcasting. I could talk to myself with no problem. But once again, everybody out there isn't really doing that. I get a kick out of the interaction. That's why I emphasize it so much. It energized me. It kept me going. But I also would try to be wary of the content I put out there.
Yeah.
I want the audience.
Yeah.
So I want people watching. I want them to come back. I want them to want me to want to do more. And I also want them to enjoy it. I was actually told I put too much into my audience. I said, if I don't have an audience and I don't have followers, what am I doing this for?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. That's just my answer.
Yeah.
Rich, you have a comment?
I would say as long as I'm broadcasting, it just try not to get, because everybody has an opinion, okay, and I'm at the point in my life that I've had my share of debates, arguments, yelling matches and stuff, and it's counterproductive. It's have a discussion. You can have two people. And it's hard. It's hard for people to get together with two opposing views because you want to throw your part out there. But I guess I'm at that point to try and understand, even though I disagree, what the thought process is and stuff like that. And because I always think there's a boatload of stuff that we all agree on, but we're focused on that little sliver that everybody disagree. It's just causing the havoc that we have going on now. And sometimes you might have to set that. And so I guess I've had my moments, like Ted, you mentioned one of them, and I remember that as far as the haps. And I just look back and I was stupid. You get too emotional and stuff. But for me, it's the fun factor. The fun factor in doing this, because I get up here and if I have one or two people, for me, that's a success. Yeah. I'm communicating, and they're communicating back, and it's part of the communication process that this thing called the internet provides as a platform, as far as for all of us and stuff like that. I look back at when my grandfather down there in Brooklyn was using the shortwave when I would visit, and I was so fascinated with it. He's talking. I'm saying to myself, he's talking to somebody on the other side of the world. I don't know who he was talking to, but I knew it was on the other side of the world. And we just take that for granted now. And to me, I try not to. So, but the main thing is as a broadcaster, continuity. Going the long haul, because it's and Bathurst used to say this, he used to be up every day and stuff like that, and there was times he wouldn't want to get, and we've always felt that I don't want to do this. Well, you got those breaks. Real world situations are always going to come first and stuff like that, but when you have one of those breaks and stuff like that, and then you're not consistent, but as long as you're having fun, that's the number one thing, is having fun doing this. Yeah, I want to get up here and do this. I want to, because I can remember back when everybody was anonymous, you didn't want to use your first name back in the day, and so that's a big change. So just for me, it's the bottom line is the fun factor. When it's no longer fun, you won't see me up here.
It's true. It's true. For those who aren't familiar or don't know, Rich is on in the mornings early. He used to be on 5 a.m.
5:30.
5:15, 5:30, but I'm on about 5:45, or I might come on at 5:30.
Froze a little bit, bro.
I'm a morning guy.
05:30, but now that he's retired, he's 06 whenever.
I still get up at about 4:45. I got 6 cats I got 2 of them that wake me up every morning. I don't need to set an alarm clock. I should send one of these cats down your way, Tony.
No, I can't handle it. Carmen, he's on Twitch. Fireman Rich. He's on my followers list. You're on mine too. Yeah, but you're 4:35 a.m. Western time.
Oh, it's a 3-hour difference there, Carmen.
Yeah, you got a difference.
Where in the world?
It's a big difference. Yeah, Ted, you froze up a little bit. Rick, you all night. Rick, you don't sleep enough. I heard what you said earlier. You don't rest. I already know what's going on.
Ted stepped down.
Yeah, he stepped. No, he'll be back.
My internet stepped out.
Okay, yeah.
It's happening to everybody. It's happened to him. I think it
You
happened to
know,
Rick
it's
Carmelli.
happened to me a couple times. Yeah, I think it's Twitch is doing something or something like that because I'm seeing a lot
People
of
need to see
broadcasts
what's
with.
running around the sun. That might be bothering it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick, he's one of the night owls and stuff like that. There's an overnight guys, and I usually in the morning I'll get a couple people in there from the I call them the night crew and stuff. But I wake up early, so it's for me the whole premise is getting up is getting a positive start to the day. And what better way when I have these two gentlemen, Ted and Tony, coming in there on the comment section and stuff like that, and they're just that really charges me up in the morning, more so than my coffee and stuff like that. So it's just it's part of that online friendship that
Yes.
we're all fostering by doing the broadcasts and stuff like that. And it's just there's things that I can bounce off of Tony, and Tony bounces off to me, and Ted, his broadcasts are great. This is a real treat because I'm not really a late night guy. I should be in bed right now. And
Chris, what's going on?
There's Chris Technician.
Rich, I didn't mean to cut you off. Carmen was asking where you at, like in the U.S. So my bad.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, in the southern tier of upstate New York. I'm between Binghamton and Elmira, New York, along the New York Penn line. Probably right in the middle there in Tioga County, as far as that goes. And I grew up here. I left here when the family moved downstate. As far as a fellow, and that's the other unique thing. I'm really, these two guys up here, fellow New Yorkers, and I like that. Even though New York, we don't like our taxes and stuff.
We're gonna grab a slice of pizza together.
But it's still it's a great state as far as from one part to the other. And even the city has its pluses, I guess.
The funny thing about it is when I do chime in on your morning broadcast, you're always on point. You're like, there's Ted. He's getting on the train right now. And I'm like,
yeah. And then Tony's enlightened me to where I know he's, as far as the schedule, because, I've been retired. Well, I just had a get together here yesterday. I got a late text. The guys, they say, hey, can you meet us down at MJ's and stuff, in an hour and stuff. And it's been 2 months since I, left the day job. And I said, I go to the missus, it's just, get your ass down there. It's like, okay. Right. So I went down for a couple drinks and stuff, and then the guys are just, and they had some good news that it's just like they're doing good, which to me is great because I was there for a number of years and stuff like that, and just being able to put those guys into certain positions where they would succeed, as far as once I stepped out and stuff like that. And that's how it was the whole time I was in the Air Force, as far as, and Tony, what I'm talking about, that leadership position and stuff like that, they're doing good. So it's just like, and they're actually probably doing better now because they don't have this knucklehead yelling and screaming and stuff. But, so it's all good. It just, I haven't really broadcast more since I've been retired because I've been busy every day and stuff like that. So this is a good, but I'm enjoying this a lot more where I'm not rushed. And that was probably, if there's one thing, there was sometimes in the morning I felt like I was rushed and stuff like that. And but I would know when, Tony, I would always say, oh, Tony, he's just waking up. No, he's actually on the job. I just found out recently and stuff. It's like, oh, wow.
Sometimes I'm at work. Yeah, I am.
Yeah. It's just so you get a feel for the schedules once and Ted, I've been on the train there, so I know what you're going through.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's improved since the years back when I was on it, but
it hasn't improved.
Yeah,
it's actually gotten worse.
Yeah.
But that's another story. Tone, there was a couple of stories that I wanted to mention to you. Because usually every week I'll try to zing Tony with a story, and Tony kind of sits there and is like, "Uh-oh, here we come."
Right.
Yeah, what's coming up? And Tony, you would love the fact that you are a New Yorker by a legacy New Yorker, but the fact that you're no longer living in New York because we'll go to
I miss the food.
Green and Tone. I
Yes.
tell you right now,
Oh, hell
I
no.
was at JFK Airport to park, I guess, short-term parking.
Short term is $80? Nah.
$80 for airport parking. JFK, LGA, and Newark.
Now, how long is that for? That $80?
That's increased for the summer hours. For the summer season. $80 a day.
This is daily.
This is daily. Wow. It was priced at $60, but the new summer rate is $80. Why? Because everyone likes to travel. So once again, as usual, you have these big corporations.
No.
You have, the local government taking, a chunk out of the everyday person who is traveling.
Let's be clear about this.
Go ahead.
Most of your frequent flyers, their flights and everything else are covered by their job or their tax write-offs. They're not worried about this. Let me speak for the common folks who don't do that. This is insanity. However, you are talking about 3 of the busiest airports in the country.
Yes.
You are definitely talking about 3 of the busiest airports
what's
in the country.
the airport in Atlanta? What's that called? Hartsfield
Jackson
Hartsfield.
Airport.
Yeah.
Daily, Hartsfield Jackson Airport, I think, is $15-$25.
Yeah.
Daily.
That's
$80.
reasonable.
Most people will find a parking lot and catch a shuttle there. They'll catch a ride. They'll take public transportation from their home location. That's fine. I live an hour and a half away from the airport. I got to drive up there and park. That's crazy. But once again, I don't think a lot of people realize, people who are paying these prices, a lot of these businesses, if you plan your finances properly, all of these expenses are tax write-offs, so you don't worry about it. For those of us who don't have this as a tax write-off, that is insanity. Most people can't afford $80 a day. That's half a paycheck for a lot of people these days.
Yeah, that's
imagine
Just
the
gotta
cost
be
of
real.
your flight. So
Yes.
imagine some of these airlines, and I'm not knocking them or anything like that. I get it, but they want to charge you. Okay, it's more than you just paying for your seat. You're paying for the extra baggage. You're paying for if you want additional space to stretch out your legs. If you want Wi-Fi, it's just like, okay.
By the time you finish them extra prices and extra fees, you're paying a whole nother plane ticket.
Exactly.
Just being real. Just being real. A lot of people see what's wrong with folks. Let me go ahead and do this. Some of you jokers who travel don't pay out your own pocket.
Yeah.
You don't charge, you don't count gas, you don't count parking, you don't count time or distance from door to terminal. And I don't mean airport, I mean terminal, because getting to the airport also means standing in line for 20 minutes. Then you got to go through TSA. Then you got to get to your terminal.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't counting all this. Put all these things in place.
There's something Carmen said that about the parking and the hotels.
If you're local to the area, yes. A lot of people are not local.
That's probably would be cheaper.
Yes, here in Los Angeles hotels. Yeah, now that's a plus. That's a plus. And a lot of people catch rides or they'll catch Ubers. Here they got a shuttle service from my area to the airport. The problem is catching the shuttle times. I personally, and I'm gonna go ahead and say, I like driving up there and drive myself back. I don't feel like waiting on nothing to nobody.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, getting an Uber to the airport is one price, but getting that car service or Uber from the airport to back home is double the price. So it's like pick your poison.
Because they have to go out there. They got to be compensated going out there, right? As far as that goes. Yeah.
Right.
Wow. I didn't know that. I don't do Uber much. I'll drive myself.
Well, don't they have Ubers or Lyfts right there, or they can't do that because the taxis have the territory or something like that?
They have all of those shuttle services at the airport.
Joy gets stuck in the airport.
Or get stuck at the airport
or something.
Yeah, her flight got switched, and we were pissed. She was stuck in Charlotte overnight by herself, and she said there was no security at the airport. We were furious.
Oh, wow.
A couple of us tried to stay online with her and for her, you know what I'm saying? Because she was actually okay, but we were like, nah, this ain't right. No airport does not have security at night.
No.
Most airports do. And even late night, those services inside closed. You just sitting there using the bathroom and drinking water out the water fountain. Maybe getting something from the snack bar. Those ain't cheap either.
Oh no.
Yeah, they're not cheap at all. So yeah, I understand all this. This is crazy. But the airport price for parking, bananas.
I think it was last summer. I went to Raleigh for the weekend for the beer, bourbon, and barbecue festival.
I haven't been to Raleigh Airport in a while. Raleigh's got
On
that's
the
a nice
way
airport.
back, there was some type of delay getting back from Raleigh to New York, or just flying out of Raleigh. It was about an 8-hour delay where you just sat there.
No comment. That happened on Haps. We was on Haps when that happened.
Where are you all hanging? Oh, that's
Where
right.
you
Yeah,
all
I remember
hanging?
you guys talking about on Haps. Yeah, that was on Haps.
Yeah, we was on Haps. We knew she was traveling. A bunch of us was up, and then she came in and told us what was going on.
No,
Yeah, we was heated, and I was like, I've been to that Charlotte airport. That is not a small airport. And I haven't been there in 25 years. That is not a small airport.
Rich, I don't know if you covered it on Wednesday, but for yesterday was the summer solstice.
Yes, yeah, that's 10:17. I think it was the official time there, I
Right.
guess, and stuff. And I noticed tonight there that when I was sitting down watching TV, that everybody else went to bed and stuff, and it's like it's still light out and stuff at
Yes.
9 o'clock, and it's like, wow, that's different.
Yeah, solstice did go by.
Yeah.
What Toby said about Sean from Airtime. Sean Parker is the guy that made Airtime. We actually talked with him about a month or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
She said maybe she get an interview with him. We'll see.
Oh, that'd be
If
cool.
you wouldn't mind, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
we
that'd
did
be
have
cool.
a good conversation with him. Yeah, he spoke about what he really wants out the platform, what he's going to do with it. We got a better understanding of it.
Oh, it's
Outside
good.
of what we wanted to, yeah, so like our Hass was. We did what we wanted to do, but I try to understand what they made it for. And I say that for every platform that I'm on.
Okay.
That would be cool. Yeah, he's a cool dude. He was all right. He just regular conversation dude. He was
Now,
all right.
Haps or Airtime, that's strictly just an app, though, right, Tony? They don't have a
For
web
me,
base.
Airtime is pretty much another version of Zoom. I want to say I
But
like
is
it.
it available on the web, or do you need does it
need
work
the app?
strictly with the app, or can you use the web?
You can use the web too.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now, the only thing is you got to share it out as a video conferencing. It's not a broadcasting platform. That was my first issue with it. I was trying
Oh, okay.
to
Okay.
broadcast
Yeah.
straight up video conferencing like Zoom, and you can share it out if you want to.
Gotcha.
You can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was on it. I think when most of you guys migrated to it, and
In a year now.
yeah,
You guys
been
been
off
on
of it a
here?
while.
Yeah. I
Been a
have to
year.
test it out, but I've already told Tony
Take your time.
I'm happy right here on Twitch.
Take your time.
And the only venturing I've done is I'm on Rumble now.
I'm on Rumble too, yes.
And then YouTube, as far as that goes. So just to see what else comes up and stuff, because Tony he uses the well, you're using StreamYards,
Yes.
Ted, which is the one of the originals. But Restream, Tony and I we both give big thumbs up to Restream.
Absolutely.
Testing new platforms out there. And I almost want to say these platforms like Restream and such that they get that type of platform. It's almost Haps like as far as
It is.
Then on Twitch here they do have guest stars, which I've dabbled in a little bit with Tony, where you can bring somebody up, and the same way we're doing here and on Restream. But it's a little, you got to have the equipment, I guess, for that, because it's a little memory intensive, I guess. That's
Which
my
one is
opinion.
Which one?
The guest stars, the Twitch guest stars. When
guest stars is limited to just Twitch. That's the only issue.
Yeah. Where Restream, you get them. Yeah.
Twitch guest stars was better than Twitch Studio. I will say that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm spoiled with multi-streaming.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stay. I'm serious. I'm
That's
really multi-streaming. That
you're the king of multi-streaming.
I'm a beast at it, and I blame Haps. They opened that door for me, for my brain to stay there.
No, that's
I'm not
good
going to
though.
keep it closed to this Periscope mess that all of you miss. I'm not going to keep it closed to just one platform.
When you bring that up about Periscope, Tony, if I could just interrupt you, you have Periscope, that was your guess, the 3 guests. That's what you could go into. I guess Periscope did go where you could just go that and stuff like that. And if you're going to live stream, you might as well have your face up there.
And what's kicker was when Periscope first started, it was just this with the line going across. Because I was on it in 2015.
Was it?
When I got on in 2015, when I first started. Now, you may be correct, because I used to watch Tichina Arnold. She would come on live, and all you can do was comment and drop hearts. Yeah, that was fun for a minute. But now that we can interact, and I always say the pandemic made video conferences.
Yeah, that was a big deal. Yes.
Back
then.
You
said that.
Oil and video conferencing, we would have been one of these new billionaires in the world. Let's just stop.
Yeah.
And we didn't. We missed out on it. So I'm spoiled with the video conferencing. I'm spoiled with the people who are just as open to video conferencing and conversating and broadcasting as I am.
Yeah.
That's at least 100 of us. Y'all know this already. I'm if we're going to do something, let's do it. And I'm watching some of us who have progressed. I'm watching some of us who are creating. I'm watching some of us who will still interact with each other, even with the differences in different content and the different topics, but still not have a problem. Range just, you know what I'm saying? It really is. Yeah, you're a face, not a flaw. I'm just saying, Rick. People miss
as far as the interaction there for the folks on the replay. There we go. I'm gonna throw a little interaction there. There's for Ted.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I call these are my Bathurst cards. There's Tony D there.
Thank you. That's my Twitter. You get the rundown later. I'm sorry.
I know. You're talking about the interaction and stuff like that, and that's the things we learn from other broadcasters. These cards. This is a Bathurst tool,
right?
And as far as that goes, so he had some elaborate cards and stuff like that to promote the platform and stuff. And I just had a pack of cards here, and I was like, oh man, that's a good idea. Just the people that are in, that's me giving back a little bit, because one thing a broadcaster cannot do is take for granted the people that are watching. They're taking their time.
I agree 100%.
That is
100%. Yes.
It's very important as far as that's one aspect there, that you should never take for granted the people's time that they're spending. And as far as that goes, and even the people that may not be up in the comments, like Rick and Carmen, and who's this girl named Toby? Okay, Toby. Okay, and they're commenting, but there's people in the background that even recognize those folks and stuff like that. That it just takes a little bit, but the time is important and stuff like that. And as far as that goes, and I feel like you're all taking me for granted. How we no, Carmen. Oh,
what else you got, Ted?
Sorry. I will say the one thing that we can mention, that's Victor Wembanyama is the.
I was going to talk about that.
Number one draft pick.
This might have been the fastest.
Oh, that's right. They did have the NBA draft today. Yeah,
they had it's still currently in session, but this guy is supposedly the real deal, and he's the next iteration of the NBA. They're going to put everything on his back.
Where's he coming from? He's coming from France.
He's coming from France.
Okay, that's
global superstar.
Who picked him up?
The San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, okay.
Great, solid organization.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
good 20 years. And he should have a good 20-year run with them. So I see him with them for a while.
The crazy thing is, the fans were tracking his plane on the internet, so they knew when and where to meet him.
Wow! And
they was just there in droves.
Yeah. And I've seen some footage of him, Ted, the last couple of days of him coming through. Very, very sincere kid.
Yeah,
that's the impression of him. He's
polished, sincere.
Exactly. Bingo.
You can kind of see what's most important is you can see the upbringing, because the skill is the skill once you get on the court. I'm talking about everything else outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
The way he carries himself, the way he can conduct an interview, the back and forth, the level of respect and professionalism and everything like that. That's what's really impressive.
He's going to be to San Antonio what Giannis is to the Bucks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Giannis,
Will
I can
be-
still remember Giannis doing the 60-minute bit before he came over here.
Yes.
Oh my God. I just like,
Yes.
when's this kid going to come over here? This guy is huge.
Yes.
And this guy is taller, 7'5", 8-foot
Yep.
wingspan, but he's skinny.
Mhm.
But he's all around everything. I mean, Kevin Durant is skinny and he's still running this. So I'm going to be watching. Big ups to him. I'm glad that's over with. This might have been the fastest draft since Lonzo Ball got drafted, because once they saw where he went, it was all right, we're good now. I can go to bed.
Right.
We just spit to the other players, but we just got to see how it's going to go from here now.
I
Go ahead, bro.
would say we would do gratitude. But
I already mentioned Mr. Gratitude's name, so
yes,
he watches this
yes.
on the replays and stuff like
I
that.
I did
think
have
we'll
questions
start
for
that
you,
next
too.
week. We'll start gratitude.
I did want
Oh
to
my
ask you this,
God.
did you see the box office numbers for some of the latest movies and the controversies behind them?
I did. You know what, Tone? We might do something maybe tomorrow or a Saturday, because that's a
Saturday would be
totally
excellent,
different
yes.
conversation.
Yeah, because Flash is getting slammed. I
Oh,
was
is it?
like,
Totally.
I can't
get
think of
good.
any movie that's coming out other than
I want to see Indiana Jones.
there's that one. Okay, but the
I wanna
commercial,
see it too,
I was watching the Tom Cruise's latest Mission Impossible. It's a part
Mission
one, and
Impossible.
there's going to be a part two. And I'm watching this, and I'm going to the missus like, okay, we got to see is there a motorcycle? Because there's always a motorcycle.
Yeah, he's jumping out of planes now. So
He's jumping out of
Yeah,
plane.
yeah.
Carmen, I do a broadcast once a week,
I'm
primarily
up there
once a
almost
week.
every- I'm up there almost
Chances
every-
are I'll do like a 60-minute, and then I'll do probably like a 30-minute. That's max for me. These other gentlemen.
Oh, his 30. You're spot on. You've inspired me on that 30-minute there when you did. Oh my God, that was like he's right, boom, right on the mark.
Boom, boom, boom. Let's go.
Let's
I
go.
like
Yeah.
that.
But I will tell you guys, we'll just do a really quick round robin. Rich, what's the best way we can find you?
You can either Google Fireman Rich and you'll see all the freaking things that I'm doing on there and stuff. That's the simplest way. But I still use Twitter at Fireman Rich, where I tote myself as a social media observer, social media enthusiast. I never get tired saying that. It's just I'm having fun on the internet, and that's my whole premise. But Twitter mainly. I broadcast. I do the replays over on YouTube and Rumble and stuff like that, and I post at some other sites. I don't really like doing the Facebook. I have a public page, but it's everything that's on those other platforms. Twitter is where it's at for me as far as that goes. And I try and other people that are on Twitter, like I know Ted and Tony, they're on Twitter. To me, that's always been a solid place, despite all the crap that everybody has against Twitter or for Twitter. I just look at it, it's a good communication tool as far as that goes. And that's how I look at Twitter overall. But Twitter at Fireman Rich.
Okay. Go ahead.
Tony D.
Go ahead. I'm coming. I'm sorry, bro. My bad.
Jason, where can we find Jason?
Yeah, Jason's
with me.
he's going to
look for him. I'm dangerous when it comes to him.
Where can we find Jason?
Oh my goodness. But
Tony D, where can we find you?
Man, y'all find me. Check my link tree, TonyD.original. That's the summary. That's the narrow breakdown. We got a minute and a half. Rich, you are not helping. You can find me on Twitter, TONYTON163. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me on Rumble, TONYTON72. You can find me on Instagram, TONY72. You can find me on TikTok, TONYTON19723. You can find me on YouTube, TONYD7444. I got asked on more than one occasion, why don't I use the same name? I can't. A lot of people use Tony D. A lot of people use the other way that I had it, so I had to come up with something different all the time. Linktree is the summary. I got the advice from this guy, but he still wants everything else. It's all his fault. This one isn't helping. And a bunch of them get the chick out of it. That's fine. I can do it. I should be broadcasting tomorrow or Saturday. If Ted goes up, I'll be up there with him as well. Not much going on my end. I slowed down. I've done a lot of broadcasting over the holiday. It was 3-day weekend, so I did a couple of shorts on Heckle, Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, TikTok. Just do something out there. Happy Father's Day. Happy Juneteenth. Juneteenth was another issue with a lot of people. I've seen a lot of articles on that. I'll go ahead and say it. Shout out to Carmen and Rick for your show. Honestly, tonight, I'm serious. You got something good, lady. Y'all doing something good. Rick, I see the assistance that you all are giving her. You and I still need to have a conversation as well. Rick, we was going to talk about something before. Sadie, Toby, Random Rick was in here too. Thank y'all for coming through. Appreciate everybody. Chris Technician is always supporting everybody. Chris Technician, big ups to Chris Technician for real.
Yeah.
He puts it out for any and everybody all the time. He jumps in. I can't wait to get on Carmen and Rick's show for real. What's that? Back it up a little bit.
Nah, you're not gonna see it. Hornets select Alabama star Brandon Miller months after.
Yeah, they picked him up.
But there's a discussion and a half about that.
Brandon Miller? We got to look at that. I don't know nothing about it.
There's a discussion and a half, which is very interesting.
I want a lot of us to pay attention to what's going on in the world more than what's just on the news. I did want to say that. I'll probably save it for my show when I do it, because I am starting to do my own little something on YouTube, just throwing a little commentary, something that'll be podcast style, with and without the music. I found some songs I can play without getting jammed, but I'm just going to go straight conversation like I do with the football as well. Other than that, man,
shout out to Nonsensical Nonsense.
Nonsense, yeah.
You're also on there. Sunday Night Smoke Show. You're also on there.
I'm all over the place.
Brian,
when he pops up and he's available.
Mr. B. As always, the MMA.
I don't get in the fights, but I love listening to him when he talks about fights.
Analyst King.
Big ups to Rick for broadcasting every day. You had 28, what episode number you on today? Over 2,800 episodes back to back.
He's like Lou Gehrig. He's the Iron Horse, man.
Yes.
Dude, the Guardian of the Galaxy.
Lou Gehrig and Cal Ripken.
Yeah, there we go.
Cal Ripken, yes. We definitely, man. Everybody, like I said, I'll be open this weekend. I'm gonna do my own thing. I do have
a story the next time we get together. I want to tell you about. I was on AM radio, and I left as COVID was hitting. I used to do a weekly Sunday night show for 1 hour. They reached out to me to come back to the station, physical station, not an internet station.
A real radio station. Wow, that's cool.
They asked me to come back when we started talking last weekend. And I told them, let's put a pause and wait until 2024, because I said, I actually like streaming. I said, the streaming aspect of it is great. The terrestrial radio piece of it is awesome because it's structured. It's a 55-minute show. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
And so we'll further discuss, but some good people at 12:40 a.m. WGBB in Bayshore, New York. Really good people out there.
LL land.
Yeah, it's Long Island.
But he was born in Bayshore.
So with that, this is our end of our weekly episode. I want to thank definitely Fireman Rich. Always available. Great show, great commentary to everyone that is in the comment field. Thank you for joining in and being also active and also a piece of the show. As always, support each and every one of these independent streams that are out there. And also Tony D, co-host extraordinaire, want to definitely thank you.
Appreciate you.
And we are out.
Peace, y'all.